Kristian, la semaine passée, après le match, tu as félicité la défense, les unités spéciales, puis tu as dit à l'attaque qu'il va falloir qu'on augmente notre jeu d'un cran. Trouves-tu que depuis le début de la semaine, les gars t'ont écouté?
Oui, absolument. Regarde, on sait que notre force dernièrement, défensivement, c'est un monstre. Fait que pour nous autres, on est très fiers des gars en défense. Les unités spéciales toute l'année, ils ont été spectaculaires. Puis offensivement, on a eu nos moments. Fait que on sait qu'on a beaucoup plus à donner. On peut être encore beaucoup plus explosif. Mais je pense en même temps, quand j'ai regardé les bandes vidéo après, regarde, on a quand même eu 32 minutes de possession. On était 2-en-2 dans la zone rouge, dans la zone payante. Fait que pour nous autres, on a fait ce qu'on avait à faire, mais on veut en faire encore beaucoup plus.
Écoute, un espion, on ne nommera pas, là, qui nous a dit que tu n'avais pas gagné de championnat à aucun niveau comme partant. Là. Qu'est-ce que ça représente pour toi, cet aspect-là, en fin de semaine?
Regarde, je pensais même pas à ça, honnêtement. Moi, j'ai joué au football pendant longtemps. Puis la première année avec les Alouettes, c'est la première fois que j'ai fait partie d'une équipe championne. Fait que c'était spécial, mais pas en tant que partant. J'étais réserviste. Mais regarde, j'ai appris de ça. J'ai regardé les gars comme Scott Flory, Luc Brodeur-Jourdain, Andrew Woodruff, tous ces gars-là, Josh Burke. Et puis j'ai beaucoup appris de cette équipe-là, des gars comme Anthony Calvillo, tout le kit Ben Cahoon. Fait que j'ai vécu des beaux moments, puis j'ai beaucoup appris. Et puis je pense que j'attendais ma chance. Puis là, je l'ai ma chance, puis j'ai hâte.
L'espion était d'un gars que tu as nommé. Ça peut t'aider à me trouver.
Je vais le trouver tantôt.
Hi, Kristian. You've obviously worked with a lot of quarterbacks in your career, and you worked very closely with Cody Fajardo this year. What are some of the qualities that you would say define him as a quarterback?
You know, Cody's very passionate. You know, he wants to win, and he wants it for everyone around him. What a lot of people might not realize is he's one of the earliest guys in the building. You know, he's in there early. He has meetings with the receivers. He has meetings with the coaches. This guy's he reminds me a bit of my first year coming into the CFL. I remember walking into the locker room and then finding out that AC had been in there already since 5 or whatever time it was early in the morning. And then you see Cody kind of doing that too. He's in very early. He wants to study the game plan, and he wants it for his brothers. He's a very selfless quarterback. He does what's asked of him, and you know he never complains. He's just there to fight for everyone, and that's one thing that started very early on in training camp. Chemistry is a big thing in football, and you never know when you have a new quarterback what it's going to be like. But he came in the group, fit right in, and we're really a band of brothers right now, and we're peaking at the right time.
What about on the field? I mean, and not only just in how he plays, but how he kind of channels things that have happened in his past, you know, the heartbreak of some less final losses, that kind of thing.
He's tough. I think the biggest thing I can say is he's tough. There's no hiding it. You know, he gets hit a few times a game, and you know, some quarterbacks might go down when they get hit like that. So we have to do a better job protecting him, obviously. But you know, he's tough, and sometimes he takes the decision to make the smart play, which is sometimes to get hit instead of maybe throwing a ball and having a turnover or something like that. So I think he plays it very tough, but he also plays it very smart, and I think that showed. If you look at his stats with his completion percentages and things like that, he never just kind of threw the ball away. So he's in it for the team. We know our identity, and we protect the ball right now, and that's what we're going to keep doing, and he does a great job for us.
Thank you.
Salut Kristian. Évidemment que c'est un match spécial, c'est une semaine spéciale, mais j'imagine que vous devez vous convaincre que c'en est pas une. Fait que comment c'est pour trouver l'équilibre entre, oui, c'est un match spécial, mais en même temps, c'est un match comme un autre?
Pour nous autres, c'est vraiment juste de rester focus. Honnêtement, c'est vraiment ça. On sait que c'est une semaine spéciale, puis ça l'est. C'est spécial d'être à la Coupe Grey. Fait qu'on s'amuse. Puis je pense qu'en regardant nos pratiques, c'est peut-être... on a toujours du plaisir. Cette semaine, on a un petit peu plus. Il faut l'admettre. On est en train de s'amuser, mais je pense qu'à l'année longue, on était comme ça. Même, je pense, quand on a perdu 4 de suite, on était content d'être là. On est une équipe, on est des travailleurs. On veut travailler fort, on veut s'améliorer à toutes les semaines. Mais en même temps, quand on rentre dans nos réunions, on sait c'est temps de travailler. Fait que nos coachs, ils font un super bon job pour nous garder focus pendant qu'on fait nos plans de match. Et puis je pense que ça, c'est quelque chose qui est très spécial avec notre équipe cette année. On est capable d'avoir du fun, mais quand c'est le temps de travailler, on travaille fort.
All right, my colleague asked you this in French, but I'm going to ask you in English. You've been with this team since 2010. Safe to say you've definitely seen a lot of stuff over the years. How is this experience now compared to what it was in 2010?
Man, that's a good question. I was a lot younger in 2010, but you know, it was a learning experience for me. I got into the league. You know, it was the Alouettes were going for back-to-back championships. I got to learn from guys like AC, Scott Flory, Ben Cahoon. I mean, you name it. All those great players were there. And for me, it was a year to sit back, to learn, to be a better football player. And that experience in itself, it was the first time in my football career, and I'd already been playing for quite a while. I've been playing since I was very young, but it was the first time that I was part of a championship team. And the Mark Trestman coach, you know, he really had a lot of things that he taught that whole group, and those carried over. The 57 plus 3 and how you got to embrace the moment and things like that. So for me, that was a very big learning experience, and I feel like I've carried that through my career, and right now I feel like I'm still using those things that I learned early and just trying to pass those things on as well.
Kristian, what's it like for you to game plan and scheme against a guy like Willie Jefferson?
That's always going to be a headache. Everyone knows Willie Jefferson is he's a veteran of the league. He knows how offenses work. I mean, he's gotten better every single year since he's been in the league. He's one of those guys that you have to be careful with. You got to learn his tendencies. You got to see what he does, down and distance, how he plays. He can bat balls down. He can do a lot of stuff. So whether you're planning to double team him, whether you're planning on not double teaming him, or whatever the case may be, you got to be ready. And for us, the big thing we put an emphasis on is our technique. You know, we got to be, first of all, mentally tough. We got to know what we're doing, limit our mistakes, but then your technique. Trust your technique, do what you're being taught to do, and that way you'll be able to have success. So for us, we're pros, he's a pro, and you know, he's going to have some plays, we're going to have some plays, and we want to have more than he does.
How do you deal with his length? He's like a basketball player out there at the end.
That's one of those things that you're asking the wrong guy. I mean, I'm like a T-Rex, right? So it's one of those things that's a little difficult at times. But again, it's really the technique. You know, you got to take a good kick set. You have to know that he's long, he's rangy, he can have really good lateral movement. So it's really trusting yourself to get to your spot. And when you have help, know where it's coming from. And honestly, just be ready to shoot your hands, punch them, use your head, your hands, whatever you need to, and stay in front of them so he can't get to the quarterback.
Is the best thing maybe just to run the football right at him and be physical with him?
You're asking an offensive lineman if he likes to run the ball. So yeah, definitely. I think that's one of those things that we like to do. You rather be the hammer, right? So for us, we like to attack. But you know, there's a time and place for that. You can't do that all game long. It's a three down football league. So for us, it's when you have your moment, take advantage of it. And then even in pass pro, sometimes you can do quick sets. Sometimes you have to take deep sets. So change stuff up. Try to do different things. Don't always be monotonous in your work, and go out and have a great day. Thank you.
So safe to say we're not going to see a thick six from you?
No, not at all. I'm just going to do what I always do, and that's what our guys are all going to do, what we always do. And honestly, we're just going to trust our technique and do what we have to do.
Kristian, Philippe Bessade de TVA Sport. Qu'est-ce que tu réponds justement aux gens qui disent que l'attaque doit en faire plus pour gagner le match dimanche?
On est au courant. On sait qu'on veut mettre plus de points. On veut pas que ce soit juste notre defense qui fait des touchés. T'sais, nous autres, on veut protéger le ballon, premièrement, comme je l'ai dit, mais on veut mettre de la pression. C'est ça que nous autres, on veut faire. Parce que quand on met de la pression offensivement, c'est plus difficile pour l'autre équipe. Puis on sait déjà, eux autres, 3 phases du jeu, ça joue bien. Puis nous autres, dernièrement, c'est vraiment défensivement qu'on joue, puis on fait du football complémentaire, comme j'ai dit tantôt. Mais vraiment, si nous autres, on est capable de mettre de la pression, ça va changer les choses pour eux aussi.
Vous dites que vous le savez. Est-ce que ça vous met une pression supplémentaire?
Pas du tout. Honnêtement, nous autres, on suit notre plan de match, puis à tous les semaines, c'est différent. Fait que pour nous autres, c'est sûr, à tous les semaines, on veut mettre 50 points sur le tableau, mais c'est pas réaliste. On a eu des matchs cette année où on était capable de bouger le ballon, des jeux explosifs. C'est ça qu'on veut continuer à faire aujourd'hui. Il faut avoir une progression à l'année longue. Et puis je pense que tranquillement, pas vite, tu sais, les choses comme j'ai dit, temps de possession, protéger le ballon. Mais là, cette semaine, moi j'aimerais savoir plus de points aussi, en même temps de moins de revirements, etc. Fait que j'ai hâte de jouer, puis il faut vraiment que ce soit notre meilleur match de l'année.
Given the arc of your career and what's happened with the team since 2010, being back here, can you talk a little bit about what this opportunity means to you and the franchise?
I mean, it's a special feeling. I think for everyone from the top all the way down. I think the off season, all the turmoil that was happening with the ownership and all that, It was very difficult, and a lot of people obviously had us pick dead last for everything because of things like that. But I think it unified us more than anything. And you know, I had that lull of years where we didn't even make the playoffs, but then since about 2019, there's been a shift in Montreal. There's a few core players that have been around now for a few years with added pieces every year. Then you have Danny that came in, more stability, and now our owner, having a local owner is huge, and a guy who just wants it for us too. Mr. Pelado has done everything for this team, and we're very grateful to him because without him, who knows where the Alouettes would be right now. But like you said, it's a special feeling. Montreal is a special city. When you're winning, when you're getting into the playoffs, everything becomes a little more special, and we're looking forward to giving a good show this week.
How do you feel personally about being the link to what most people call the glory days of this franchise to today?
Wow, am I that young? Yeah, so I guess it's a badge of honor, right? It's one of those things, I mentioned earlier, I got to play with a lot of great football players, Hall of Famers, and being that link to show you, you know, it's possible after maybe that many years to get back. But also, it's also a learning experience because guys can see, hey, rookies this year will be like, all right, I got to take advantage of this. I have to know that, you know, Kristian didn't make it back till, you know, 13 years later. So I think it's a more of a learning experience for a lot of the young guys, and they see that in this league, anything can happen any year, and yeah, it's a great feeling actually right now, so we're very happy.
Thank you.
Kristian, Neil Davidson from the Canadian Press. Part of your team practices have a musical soundtrack. I wonder, who picks the music, and do you like training to music?
You don't think that's my playlist? Honestly, it's one of those things, like I've been talking about, we have fun. You know, when it's time to work, we work, and when it's time to play, we play. You know, we've done a great job of that all year. And you know, we have we have different days, it's different music. You know, sometimes we'll have country there on Wednesdays. That's the one day where it's a little different. But honestly, it's one of those things that just, it gives an energy to your practice, and I thoroughly enjoy it. You know, I'm a guy who loves music to begin with. Doesn't matter what kind of music it is, I love it. It gets us in a rhythm. We have fun with it, and yeah, playing football is fun, so we might as well have fun doing it.
Kristian, there's been some references to the lean times. You think about all the stuff you've seen, multiple owners, coaches, GMs, quarterbacks, playoff drives, everything. What kept you an Alouette? What made you want to stay all these years?
For me, I think it's a question of loyalty. I mean, first of all, the Alouettes were my dream team. I mean, I grew up watching the Alouettes and wanting to play for the Alouettes. And then I got the chance to play with some of those guys that I watched. So that was very special in of itself. But for me, you know, early on you could say I want to go somewhere else or I want to try something new. They drafted me. They gave me a chance. They believed in me. So I was patient. And then when it was time, I believed in them. So it's one of those things, loyalty is huge. I've got the Alouettes tattooed on my heart forever. It's never going to change. And you know, that's what it is, loyalty. They believed in me and I believe in this organization. And even through the tough years, that's what builds character. So you got to build character out of those moments, and you know, things are starting to look up now, and we want to keep this going for a while.
Merci Kristian.
Merci.
We'll go with